So I'm here at Armag with AlexGorbachev, and he led the SIG for Big Data at Rocky Mountain Oracle User Group. And Alex, it's always great seeing you and always great talking to you. I'm really interested in terms of the big data space. It's because like a couple of years ago, there's all the hoopla about NoSQL and that stuff is going to kill the Oracle, and it's all going to be big data and relational databases, SQL, it's going away. Obviously, that hasn't happened. There's numerous development projects in terms of trying to add SQL capabilities on big data or getting accessing and working with the two together. You know how this stuff works. You've been playing around with it. They pick you to lead the chair of the thing. What do you see happening in the space? What's the reality out there?
Well, I mean, if NoSQL would ever kill Oracle, obviously it wouldn't take 2 years, but maybe 20 years. So who knows? But the reality is that there's obviously if you're a pragmatic customer, you would select the tools that fit better certain use cases. Oracle is a great fit for many workloads, but as in the modern age, there's certain applications, certain workloads, and certain needs that lend themselves better to maybe like a simpler tools, or the tools that may be less critical in their resiliency and etc. So, and that's where initially NoSQL sort of went in, but it got mature, more and more mature, and there's certain use cases, especially in like internet sort of scale deployments, where NoSQL lends itself really well to handle certain workloads, website traffic, and etc. Or things like some of the streaming sensor media and so on that may not necessarily directly easy to ingest into Oracle database. Oftentimes they're somewhere in between, they finding their space.
So I've also heard, I said it on Kawasi's talk, and he was talking about how you could use Hadoop with Oracle and that, and it was very interesting. And he mentioned something in terms of outside of the Twitters and the Googles, the guys that have the huge, you hear about the 1,000 node clusters and that. That isn't really the average size of the average Hadoop cluster. What are you seeing actually out there in the field in terms of what's an average,
Yeah, I mean...
outside of the marquee names, of course.
Right, I mean, while Hadoop sort of started from, Googles of the world, when basically they tried to solve the problem which was just not solvable in traditional technologies, the commercial deployments, often go within like, dozens of the node size, into hundreds maybe, but frequently we see clients start with like a dozen node Hadoop cluster and grow from there. So that's a common kind of scale to see 10 terabyte deployment easily, a few dozen nodes. That's kind of usually the lower limit. Lower than that, it's probably not worth it because it requires much more engineering efforts and investments. So the Hadoop is designed to be affordable at scale, as my good friend Jeff Needham says. Mm-hmm. So as a result, if you don't have certain scale, your expense on additional engineering and more maintenance and so on will not justify the choice of Hadoop technologies maybe.
Okay, that's a great point, because that was one of the things that came up in Kawasi's talk, because he was saying, well, okay, you can do Hadoop-like functions in the database itself and use your excess capacity on the database to run actual Hadoop functions. And I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. And if it really is on those scale for most of the production thing, you can run a prototype if you have a spare capacity. But as he pointed out, if you're really going to do Hadoop in the large scale, you're not going to do it on a database machine.
Yeah, that's correct. Sure.
That's great. Well, I really appreciate your time, Alex, and thanks for your take on it. Big data, enjoy. Good luck with the rest of your conference.
Always my pleasure. Thank you.